I have been skiing in exactly 4 years. Way to go. Arctic is a movie that stars Mads Mikkelson. He plays the survivor of a plane crash that has crashed in the Arctic, and he is trying to survive. He's doing everything he can. He's making SOS symbols in the snow, hoping that somebody will fly over and rescue him, and he witnesses a helicopter crash after trying to get the attention, and there's only one survivor from that crash, and it's a girl, and he takes care of that girl, trying to find a way to survive, and he has to make a decision whether or not he wants to embark on a journey to try and find civilization, to try and survive, or if he should just try and survive on his own with the girl in the Arctic. This is a movie that has flown under the radar for a lot of people. It's an indie movie. I really wish people would support indie movies a lot more. Hasn't gotten as much buzz as other indie movies have, and I wish it did, and that's why it's kind of flown under the radar. It's been out since the beginning of February. It's been on my radar for a while, and I finally got the chance to go and see it, because I totally forgot that Greta came out today, and I didn't go and see Greta. I decided to see Arctic instead, because this is a movie that has been on my watch list for a while. This has been on my radar, and I'm really glad I got to go see this movie. This is a very, very intimate portrayal of survival. One of the better films about survival that I have seen. First of all, Mads Mikkelsen. Unfortunately, his performance is going to fly so far under the radar, but holy shit. Mads Mikkelsen in this movie is phenomenal. And to play a character that doesn't speak that much, that has very minimal dialogue, who has to rely on body language and expression to convey what his character is feeling, that is not an easy task to do. That's another thing with this movie. It's got very minimal dialogue. A lot of times movies like that can be very boring, but I found this very interesting. The fact that you can kind of guess along with the character, whose name we actually do not know. You can try and think along with him, try and think about his thought process, what's going through his head. It made him that much more human, and I really appreciated that. And his relationship with this girl, the girl doesn't have any speaking lines. She's really just laying in a sleeping bag for the whole movie, asleep. But you could tell that he's developing a relationship with this girl, because he's like, oh my god, this is the only other person that's alive out here in the Arctic. Maybe there is hope. Maybe there is something that can help me get home. Cinematography in this movie, I loved. Almost every wide shot in this movie conveyed that feeling of loneliness and isolation. You just see long, still shots of the Arctic tundra, just nothing around this guy, or just mountains of snow. It's like, if you embark on a journey to try and find civilization, where the hell do you go? It added layers to the fact that this guy was out in the tundra all by himself. And great cinematography and camera work does millions to a movie like this, and it paid off a lot. Speaking of the camera work, I really like how it lingers on certain objects. He's using certain objects, it's like maybe it's lingering on that because he'll use that later on. And then sometimes it doesn't focus on anything. There's a lot of interesting techniques with the camera in here. There's also, with the editing process, there's a lot of old school filming techniques here, like cut to black, fade in from black. There's quite a few of those things here, and it's usually after moments of tension, or after moments of, that this character has realized that maybe he's lost all hope. And I really thought that that was a smart choice, because when movies do that, when they fade in and fade out to black like that, it's just like, oh my god, like, it just hits the audience with a certain, like, nerve, you know, that certain gut emotion. Just like, holy shit. And some of the stuff he endures in this movie is just like, yeah, I think I would rather just die in the tundra, thank you very much. The director of this movie, I don't know his name, but he crafts the tension for this movie very, very well. It's almost unexpected. All of the moments of tension and peril, just unexpected. There's quite a few jumps, not jump scares, but just jumps, where just something out of nowhere just pops up, like maybe a polar bear or something, or he falls through a crack or something, and it's so unexpected, but the way it's crafted, there's really no build-up to any of this, and that's what makes it so great. Now, if I have any issues with the movie, it's that it does feel a bit long. The movie's only like 90 minutes, but it does feel like it's a lot longer. And I feel like it's because there's only 2 characters in this movie, one of which is a central character, and that's Mads Mikkelson's character. I feel like that's a reason, and it's also because there's very minimal dialogue, so it's going to feel a lot longer than it actually is, and that might actually turn some people off from this movie. I know that there are plenty of people out there who don't like movies that have minimal dialogue, that focus more on scenery and visuals and tension like this movie does. And I can see how people will easily be bored. And towards the end of the second act, I started to kind of feel it a little bit. I was starting to get, okay, maybe this is becoming a little bit boring, but luckily it fixed itself in the third act. With something that happens to the character. There are some scenes where you kind of do zone out, but you know, it's a simplistic story, and that's a great thing about this movie. It's a simplistic story, so if you zone out, you don't really miss anything. The trailers kind of make it look like it's going to be like the survival thriller. It's more of like the survival drama, so it's kind of mismarketing there. I thought Arctic was phenomenal. This was a movie that was on my radar for a while, and I'm glad I got to see it before I left theaters, because I don't know, I was going to wait, but I don't know how much longer this is going to be in theaters, and it's only playing in one theater in Boston. So I took my chance, and I decided, you know what, I'll go see it. And I'm going to give Arctic a frosty A-. Thank you for checking out our review of Arctic. Whoa, look at this stuff. On the left, there's a couple of my reviews. You can also subscribe right here. I will leave the link to my website where you can subscribe there as well. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching my review of Arctic. Stay tuned for more reviews coming very soon. Comment and subscribe on this video. My name is Alex Madden, and I'll see you at the movies somewhere.